So hi, I'm Tim Clark, Group Senior Editor, and I recently went to see the reveal of Borderlands, the pre-sequel. I'm joined by Evan.
Hey Tim.
And Evan is the Editor-in-Chief of PC Gamer US.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a pre-sequel, not a sequel or a prequel, but somewhere between the two. It's set between Borderlands 1 and 2 in terms of story, 4 brand new characters, and you get to visit the moon for the first time. You're off of Pandora.
Right, so new setting. It's probably fair to think about this as like super DLC. I think that's a accurate term.
That's kind of how I'm seeing it. Is like it reminds me a little bit of you know the Batman game that recently came out, Batman Origins, Arkham Origins, yeah, where it was farmed out to another developer, and this is the same. It's being developed by 2K Australia, who, as the name suggests, are based in Australia, and came off some work they did recently for Bioshock Infinite. This was their next project after that. So it kind of feels, yeah, like an extension of Borderlands 2, really. It's running on the same engine. What you just saw there in the footage was one of the new characters, Athena, who I believe is the Gladiator class, and she was there picking from the skill tree. It's the same as Borderlands, essentially. You kind of got three skill trees to assign your level up points to, and her kind of action ability, you can see right now, is this shield called the Aspis, which you can power up in a variety of different ways. Here you see her using it as a kind of discus, having soaked up some damage, but you'll see a little later on in this footage her using it in another way. So the other characters you'll see running around in this footage, there's one called Wilhelm, and they're all from the Borderlands universe. Fans of the series will be familiar to them, and Wilhelm was actually the boss, the first boss you fought in Borderlands 2, but at that point he'd become almost fully sort of cybernetic, like he was an android dude. But at this stage of the game, or in this stage of the Borderlands timeline, he's still a human, but as the game goes on, he'll become more and more mechanical as he's upgraded.
Right.
I don't know if you just noticed there, Evan, you see that guy frozen into crystal?
Yeah, so that's like the new cryo energy type, I guess?
Yeah, there are two kind of main additions to the arsenal. One is the cryo weapon, where as you hit them with it, you see right there, they kind of get that kind of blue crystal form around them, and then you can melee smash them and blast them into little pieces. And also keep an eye out for lasers. Lasers are the
there's one there.
Like Dr. Evil there. Yeah, there you go. This is being timed far better than we could even have scripted. Lasers, yeah, the other big type, and there's all different sorts of lasers, from kind of big sort of death ray type ones to kind of more kind of pew pew, like your basic Star Wars sort of stormtrooper jobbies.
So one thing I'm also noticing that's different is there's a O2 bar in the lower left hand corner. We're in space here. So
yeah, it's not clear.
Yeah,
it's not clear entirely how much of the time you'll spend on Pandora's moon. That they implied it wouldn't be all of it, or I got the sense it wouldn't be all of it. But you're actually working as part of Handsome Jack's crew. It kind of, the story tells the rise of Handsome Jack from being a kind of well-meaning dude to being the supervillain you know from Borderlands 2. But yeah, obviously being on the moon, O2 is a new resource you have to keep picking up, obviously to stop yourself from suffocating, but it's also used to power your jetpacks, and you can do these kind of cool double jumps, but also like slam back into the ground to do a kind of, they describe it as a Mario butt stomp, which as an attack you can apply elemental effects to it, like fire and slag from the previous game. So there's that same kind of crazy level of customization, obviously, when it comes to.
So here we're looking at sort of the shield discus that you were talking about.
And that's, yeah, exactly, one of the other that's the ricochet kind of power Athena's able to unlock later, where it spangs off from five different enemies. Here's a slightly sort of more sedate, non-combat-y bit where you get a bit more of a sense of using the O2 to power these big kind of languid low G jumps for the kind of the platforming elements. I mean, the game's still looking great, right? Like, the engine is still really strong, the art design is still lovely. I think if you were looking for kind of some big Borderlands, I mean, there's a reason it's not called Borderlands 3, right? It's called the pre-sequel, and that's because it's an extension, I think. There you can see like that kind of magma on the moon, where it's been blasted by a Hyperion space station. I wasn't clear from the demo why they were blasting the moon, but blasting the moon appeared to be a bad idea, and that's what the two characters here, Athena and Wilhelm, were trying to do. The other thing I should mention is, I'm not sure we saw him in the footage, but you can play as Claptrap. That's one of their kind of big reveals, although he's called now Claptrap the Frag Trap, and he wears this jaunty little military beret. And he's small as well. They said his camera will be positioned lowly, and one chap compared it to try and play his odd job in the GoldenEye game, presented a smaller target.
Excellent. Alright, so the main takeaway is this is content, not any sort of like fundamental upgrade or sequel to the Borderlands franchise as we know it. Is that right, Tim?
Yeah, they talked about it being bigger than Borderlands 1, but possibly a little smaller in terms of the kind of sheer amount of content than Borderlands 2. But it looks like 2K Australia were doing a really solid, sort of faithful job to the Borderlands universe. The kind of the small tweaks they've added, the new gun types, the 0G or low G stuff, look like they'll be fun to play around with. So I don't think it will be a reinvention of Borderlands as we know it. But if you were hankering for more Borderlands, this is certainly that.
Okay. Do we know when this is coming yet?
It's out in the fall or autumn for my English brethren.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for the walkthrough.
Cool.